Entrepreneurs with big ideas have jumped into the Shark Tank to see if our first guest would take the bait. Barbara Corcoran is a businesswoman who is passing on her knowledge to small business owners. She has an upcoming series of free webinars entitled Business Unusual with Barbara Corcoran, and she's here to tell us how she can help. Welcome, Barbara. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Desiree. Very nice to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. And I wanted to ask you, is it more difficult now for small businesses as they face supply chain backlogs, increased shipping and transportation costs, and having to pay higher wages than it was during the height of the pandemic that forced them to temporarily close their doors?
Well, so many businesses that were going to close did close their doors in the pandemic, but the survivors are well equipped to deal with the latest challenges. But they're sizable enough. You know, everything has gotten more expensive. As you just cited, the shipping costs, the cost of the supply, the labor cost, you have to pay people more. And so businesses are truly, truly struggling. And that's why we're having our Business Unusual webinar series presented by AT&T Business, because people really need help. And we're going to address those problems smack between the eyes, as I say.
And Barbara, would you say, is it a good time to start a small business as so much office and retail space remains vacant?
You know, it's not just about getting a good deal on the office space or retail space. That's a very small percentage of the business expense, the expensive part of the people. But is it a good time to start a business because your customers will like you? Yes, it's the best possible time because customers have changed. The kinds of services they want has changed. The delivery they want has changed. And so who's better equipped to start a business afresh and understand the customer than someone who just hasn't done it before? It's very hard to get people in business for a lot of years to change their way of doing things. But when you start a business and you have an idea and you don't focus too much on getting it right, but you get out there and get it going, the chances of your success right now, I really believe, are higher than they have been in probably 7 or 8 years.
Wow. And then what is the focus of your webinars and how do you hope small businesses can benefit from them?
You just register. It's for free at 888barbaracorcoran.com. And you could also, if you should miss that Wednesday, May 11th live version of it, you could get them all in the digital world, of course, on all of our past webinars, in fact, on demand. So you haven't missed the whole show, that's for sure.
Okay, that's good to know. And what is the number one piece of advice you give entrepreneurs when they are starting a business?
Don't spend so much time getting it right. That's the mistake everybody makes. They never get out of the gate. The minute you have that idea, test it on the street. Get out there, make a prototype, see if people are going to pay for it, versus write a really sophisticated business plan, which is what we've all been taught to do. I didn't have one. I find my best entrepreneurs invent the business plan on the street, and that's really how you have to go. But you got to get it going. You got to get it going.
And Barbara, what would you say is the biggest mistake small business owners can make?
I think underestimating the power of the product versus the power of themselves. I have seen people with the worst product become hugely successful because they change it as they go. But I've seen so many businesses with the best product in the hands of the wrong entrepreneur who doesn't have the gumption to keep on pushing, 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 and nothing ever becomes of it. You know, you have to know your real strength is in yourself. The business is an extension of your own energy and how aggressive you feel about making a success of yourself. That's what the business really is.
And what is the significance of National Small Business Week, and how should people recognize small businesses and the impact they have on our lives and the economy?
We all deal with small businesses every day, particularly where we live more than even where we work. And then, of course, when we go to work, we're dealing with other small businesses that provide services. If you could bear in mind that that small business needs your help, it's not that it's a charity. It's just if you believe that people should have a break in life, if you believe that small businesses should grow and become a somebody, then you give your business to a small business. Just get in the habit of thinking, where else could I get it? That's not a huge business. But I must say a caveat there. When it comes to the technology that underwrites your business, you can't think small. You got to think big. You have to think interconnected. Can't get that big word out. And that's exactly where AT&T Business comes in. The underpinnings of all great businesses today is great technology. And that's what we hope to really hammer home also in our webinar series.
Well, Barbara, I think you've given us a lot of important information just talking to you right now, and I can only imagine how much more small businesses will learn attending one of your webinars. Thank you so much for joining us. And to keep up with this shark and get more business savvy by following her on Instagram at Barbara Corcoran.